The records of Celestial King He Feng's hidden domain end with a warning. The final gate never opens without a price. In Alchemy Emperor of the Divine Dao, chapter 2547, 2551, that warning begins to take shape as Ling Han and his companions survive one deadly region after another. Lightning giants forged from countless thunder spirits, forests of explosive fruits, oceans of fire, frozen wastelands, and endless blades. With Wally's uncanny abilities carrying the group through impossible traps, suspicion quietly grows around the ever-prepared He Runhai. Every obstacle falls too neatly before him. Every sacrifice seems strangely convenient, and behind his calm smile lurks a purpose no one can fully grasp. Now, after activating the 9th Formation Eye and reaching the heart of Celestial King He Feng's legacy, the truth finally starts to emerge. Chains rise from the heavens, allies become offerings, and a scheme hidden for countless years reveals its fangs. As blood, ambition, and betrayal converge beneath a colossal tree of metal, one question remains unanswered. Who is truly the hunter? And who has been the sacrifice all along? There are guardians who block a road with swords. There are guardians who block a road with formations. And then there is the kind of monster who simply sits on the key to the entire formation, silent as a mountain, born from heavenly lightning, and dares 3 ninth heaven celestial kings to come closer. That is the kind of absurd danger Ling Han's group faces here. At first, the mood is almost ridiculous. The large black dog, as usual, turns a deadly situation into a crude joke, and everyone is left feeling both speechless and disgusted. But the laughter dies quickly, because the problem before them is not funny at all. The stone tablet they must mark with blood is trapped beneath a gigantic being made of lightning. This creature does not breathe like a living man. It does not speak, threaten, or posture. It simply sits there, unmoving, as if it is part of the ruins themselves. And that stillness is what makes it terrifying. The Imperial Void Celestial King immediately senses that this is not an ordinary obstacle. He calls the being unfathomable, and He Runhai is just as unsettled, because according to the information he had gathered, there should not have been a living lightning entity here at all. That detail matters. This place is not merely dangerous because of its original design. It has changed. Time has seeped into the formation. Regulations have twisted. What should have been a predictable trial has evolved into something far more unstable. In a Xianxia world, ancient formations are already deadly, but an ancient formation that has developed unexpected mutations is worse. It means no guide, no map, and no inherited memory can be fully trusted. He Runhai decides to test the Guardian. He forms a blazing spear out of regulations, a condensed weapon of flame and law, and hurls it toward the lightning giant. This is not necessarily his strongest attack, but coming from a 9th heaven celestial king, even a probing strike carries enough force to crush weaker experts. Yet before the spear can even land, a jade blue streak of lightning flashes out. The spear is destroyed instantly. The giant still has not truly moved. That single exchange tells everyone what they are dealing with. This is not some mindless lightning puppet waiting to be cut down. Its defensive reaction is terrifyingly fast, and its command of lightning regulations is on a level that can casually erase a celestial king's attack. Then the situation escalates. From the body of the lightning giant, countless smaller lightning beings burst outward. They transform into spheres of electricity and shoot toward the group like a storm of heavenly punishment. The 3 ninth heaven celestial kings are angered at once. Not because they are afraid, because the lightning giant has, in effect, challenged all 3 of them at the same time. In the world of cultivation, such a thing is more than an attack. It is an insult to status, realm, and dignity. A 9th heaven celestial king stands near the peak beneath heavenly venerate level. For a lightning-born guardian to strike at 3 of them together is almost like declaring, "I do not care who you are." The celestial kings respond with waves of regulation power, trying to crush the incoming lightning spheres. But the spheres do not vanish. They shrink, they weaken, yet they keep coming. This is the key to the scene. The lightning giant's power is not only explosive, but stubborn. Its attacks continue forward even after being struck by top-tier experts. That means its structure is extremely dense, its regulations are deeply fused, and its momentum is hard to erase. everyone is forced to defend. The large black dog creates a shield of light. Ling Han, showing both quick thinking and shameless practicality, immediately uses Wally as cover while he and the Empress hide behind him. Poor Wally, emotionless as ever, becomes the most reliable shield in the group. But this little moment of humor also reveals something important. Ling Han understands the battlefield instantly. Against this kind of lightning, pride is useless. Survival comes first. If Wally's body can endure, then using him as a barrier is not cowardice, it is strategy. The lightning detonates. For an instant, the world is swallowed by electric radiance. The explosion is so fierce that most of the group suffers injuries. Wally himself is left covered in cuts, as if carved by a divine blade. Yet his body begins healing almost immediately, showing recovery ability that rivals some of the most unnatural beings in the story. This again reminds us that Wally is no ordinary companion. He may not act like a traditional cultivator, and he may not carry the arrogance of a martial genius, but his physical resilience and analytical ability make him invaluable in strange battlefields like this. The large black dog finally loses patience. He charges forward, unleashing dark destructive light from his claws. And now, at last, the lightning giant moves. This is an important turning point. Until now, the giant has acted more like an automated heavenly disaster. But once the large black dog personally enters close combat, the guardian must respond directly. It throws a punch, and lightning crashes against shadowy destructive force. The impact warps space itself. The battlefield becomes too dangerous for most of the group to remain nearby. They quickly retreat, because when two ninth heaven level forces collide, simply standing too close is courting death. Shockwaves from such beings are not ordinary blasts of wind. They are collisions of regulations, distortions of space, and eruptions of power that can tear apart anyone without enough cultivation foundation. Only the Imperial Void Celestial King and He Runhai remain in place, calm enough to watch. And here, the large black dog finally reminds everyone what he truly is. Most of the time, he acts shameless, vulgar, and ridiculous. His personality makes it easy to forget that he is a supreme elite of the ninth heaven, and not merely a normal one. He is a supreme monarch star, the kind of being whose battle prowess stands far beyond his peers. In other words, beneath the jokes and bad behavior is a monster, a celestial king who can stand near the summit of his realm. But the lightning giant does not lose ground. It fights violently, wielding lightning as if the sky itself has become its weapon. Blow for blow, it clashes with the large black dog without showing weakness. Ling Han turns to Wally for an explanation. Wally's eyes shine as he scans the creature, and his answer reveals the truth. The giant is not a single lightning life form. It is a collective body made from countless smaller lightning beings. That explains everything. A single lightning creature should not be able to match the large black dog, but countless entities fused together can pool their power, forming one enormous guardian with battle strength great enough to challenge a peak celestial king. This is not merely a monster, it is a battlefield condensed into one body. The Imperial Void Celestial King then makes the practical decision. They cannot continue wasting time. If they want to shut down this region of the formation, the lightning giant must be removed. So he joins the attack. He Runhai joins as well. Now 3 ninth heaven celestial kings strike together. At this point, the battle becomes brutal but not elegant. The lightning giant has no fear, no pain, and no instinct for self-preservation. It meets every attack head-on, trading damage without hesitation. This makes it extremely dangerous. A normal cultivator, no matter how powerful, still calculates risk. Even a proud expert will dodge, retreat, or conserve energy when needed. But a guardian without fear can force exchanges that living beings would avoid. That is why even 3 celestial kings suffer wounds during the fight. Still, the outcome is inevitable. The combined pressure of 3 ninth heaven experts is too much. The lightning giant shrinks under their assault. Its massive form breaks down. At last, it scatters into multiple spheres of lightning and detonates completely. The way is finally open. The group quickly marks the stone tablet with blood, and the lightning filling the region disappears. Another part of the Great Formation is suppressed, but victory does not bring comfort. The Imperial Void Celestial King asks He Runhai how many more surprises remain. He Runhai can only admit that he does not know. Too much time has passed. Too many strange changes may have occurred. The ancient plan is still useful, but it is no longer absolute. Luo Yangchu volunteers to stay behind beside the stone tablet, guarding this resolved area while the others move on. And so the group enters the next trial. At first glance, it looks almost peaceful. A forest stretches before them, lush and full of life. Tall trees rise above jade-green grass. Fruits of many colors hang from branches and plants, red, green, purple, and dazzling to the eye. But the silence is wrong. There are no beasts, no birds, no insects. Nothing moves except the plants. This is one of the most eerie contrasts in Xianxia storytelling, a place overflowing with greenery, yet completely devoid of natural life. It looks alive, but feels dead. It is not a forest. It is a trap wearing the skin of a forest. He Runhai warns them that the fruits can explode with terrifying force. And when a ninth heaven celestial king calls something terrifying, no one should treat it lightly. The Imperial Void Celestial King concludes that walking on the ground is impossible. Plants cover the entire area, and every plant bears explosive fruit. If they move carelessly, they will trigger disaster from every direction. So the group takes to the air. For a moment, this seems like the correct answer. Avoid the plants, avoid the fruits, and cross from above. But formations are rarely so simple. The moment they enter the region, the air itself ripples. The local regulations react to their presence, and those ripples spread outward like invisible waves. The plants begin to sway. Then the fruits fall. One after another, they launch into the sky like arrows. In an instant, the peaceful forest becomes a storm of living bombs. The group tries to knock the fruits away, but that only triggers the explosions faster. The moment force touches them, they detonate, and each explosion causes the next. What begins as scattered blasts becomes a chain reaction that consumes the sky. This is the cruelty of the formation's design. The fruit bombs are not individually unbeatable. Each carries roughly fifth heaven celestial king-level destructive power. Compared to the ninth heaven experts in the group, one fruit is not the problem. The problem is quantity. Thousands explode together. And in cultivation battles, accumulated force can overturn realm advantage. A single drop of water cannot break stone, but a heavenly flood can swallow mountains. Here, the forest uses the same principle. It does not need one supreme attack. It only needs countless lesser attacks detonating at once, from every direction, without pause. Even the ninth heaven celestial kings are injured. That final detail is the true warning. The group has just defeated a lightning giant by relying on peak experts, but now even those peak experts are being harmed by the environment itself. This means the next trial is not about dueling one powerful enemy. It is about surviving a domain where every movement can become a disaster. And that is why this chapter matters. It shows that this ancient formation is not simply a sequence of monsters to defeat. It is a layered death trap, one that tests strength, adaptability, information, and nerves. The lightning giant forced them into direct combat. The forest now punishes even defensive reactions. One trial asks, "Can you overpower me?" The next asks, "Can you even move without destroying yourself?" Ling Han's group may have 3 ninth heaven celestial kings, the Empress, Wally, and the shameless but terrifying large black dog, but this place is proving that raw power alone is not enough. Because when the Dao of the formation turns the entire world into a weapon, even supreme experts must tread like mortals crossing thin ice. And now the question becomes, how do they pass through a forest where every fruit is a bomb, every ripple is a warning, and even the sky is no longer safe? A paradise of immortal plants had just become a battlefield. One moment, Ling Han's group was surrounded by lush greenery, strange fruits, and mysterious life force. The next moment, that beautiful scenery revealed its true nature. It was not a garden. It was a trap. Explosions erupted from every direction, swallowing the entire group in waves of destructive force. There was no path to dodge, no clever footwork to rely on, no safe route hidden between the trees. The fruits themselves were weapons, and once triggered, they turned the whole region into a storm of death. Even these proud geniuses and celestial kings were blasted away like leaves before a heavenly tribulation. And this is the frightening part of ancient ruins in Xianxia worlds. The danger is not always a monster, a cultivator, or a blade aimed at your throat. Sometimes the danger is the land itself. Sometimes the ancient formation does not care about your talent, your bloodline, or your reputation. It simply crushes anyone who steps into the wrong place. When the explosions finally faded, the once vibrant ground had been burned into black ruin. The weaker members of the group were badly injured. Bones had cracked, blood had been spilled, and even the stronger ones could not claim they had escaped untouched. The 3 Ninth Heaven Celestial Kings endured at best, suffering only light injuries. That alone showed the terrifying gap between them and the others. At this level, cultivation is not just about strength. It is the difference between being wounded and being erased. Ling Han, however, had spent the disaster protecting the Empress. He held her close, taking most of the punishment himself while activating the indestructible Heaven Scroll. His body was bloodied, but his foundation held firm. This moment says a great deal about Ling Han. He is reckless when it comes to himself, but terrifyingly steady when protecting the people he values. His confidence does not come from arrogance alone. It comes from knowing how much punishment his body, his cultivation, and his will can endure. Then there was Wally. Wally had been blown apart, and yet, almost immediately, he began putting himself back together as if destruction were only an inconvenience. Among all of them, he looked like the one who should have suffered most, yet he was also the one they needed to worry about least. That is why Wally is such a strange existence. In a world where cultivators chase immortality through Dao, blood, and heavenly resources, Wally's body operates by a different logic. Unless someone of truly overwhelming level destroys him completely, he can simply restore himself again and again. After surviving the first disaster, the group focused on healing. Pills were consumed, injuries began to close, and for a brief moment, it seemed as though they could at least take time to recover. But then the ground betrayed them a second time. The scorched earth began turning green. New shoots pushed up from the dead soil. Grass grew at an unnatural speed. Saplings rose. Flowers bloomed. And in only half a day, the destroyed region had nearly returned to its original deadly beauty. The meaning was clear. This was not an ordinary forest. It was a formation area with self-restoring power. Burn it, blast it, flatten it, and it would simply grow back. The group had not solved anything. They had only survived one cycle. And now the real question appeared. How could they cross a land where every step could trigger destruction and where the terrain repaired itself faster than they could make progress? The answer was cruel, practical, and very Xianxia. They looked at Wally. Wally sensed danger immediately. Even without understanding human schemes deeply, he could tell that the group had found a new use for him. The Imperial Void's Celestial King did not waste time. He grabbed Wally and threw him forward like a living test stone. The fruits detonated again. From outside the danger zone, the others could still feel the shockwaves roaring outward. These were not simple explosions either. Hidden within them were fragments of powerful seals, making the destructive force far more terrifying than ordinary fire or impact. When it was over, Wally reformed once more. Naturally, he was furious. Anyone would be. Even if you cannot truly die, being used as a disposable formation breaker is not exactly respectful treatment. But Ling Han understood Wally's logic. Anger could be negotiated with. Damage could be compensated. So Ling Han offered divine metal. Wally immediately shifted from rage to calculation. He asked for more. Ling Han bargained him down. And just like that, the group gained their path forward. This is one of those moments where the story becomes oddly funny, but also strategically important. Wally's immortality is not just a survival trait. It becomes a resource. The others cannot withstand the repeated blasts, but Wally can. So the entire expedition's progress depends not on the strongest Celestial King, nor the proudest Monarch Star, but on the strange being who can be blown apart and still complain about payment afterward. From there, the method became simple. Wally advanced. The fruits exploded. He recovered. The group moved into the cleared area. Then he advanced again. It was brutal, slow, and effective. The others could not help but recognize how heaven-defying this ability was. No wonder Heavenborn had been treated as such an important figure. Without a heavenly Venerate-level force intervening, a being like this was almost impossible to truly destroy. That raises an important cultivation point. In Xianxia battles, Power is not only about attack strength. Recovery, durability, and special constitution can overturn the normal hierarchy. A genius with overwhelming offense may still lose to something that refuses to die. Wally represents a different kind of terror, not domination through force, but domination through persistence. After a full day of this strange advance, the group finally reached the end of the plant region. There, wrapped in vines and purple fruits, stood a stone tablet. This time, they did not send Wally in directly. They attacked from a distance, triggering the fruits safely. The explosions tore through the plants, but the stone tablet remained untouched. That detail matters. Anything that can survive such destruction inside an ancient formation is not ordinary. The tablet is not decoration. It is part of the mechanism controlling this region. The group approached and offered blood to activate it. Once the tablet responded, the entire plant zone changed. The deadly vegetation sank back into the earth, leaving the land barren and silent. The Formation Eye had been subdued, but every Formation Eye needed someone to stay behind and manage it. This time, Jijihong volunteered. He had been quiet throughout the journey, almost invisible beside the louder and more scheming figures. Yet now he chose to remain. On the surface, this looked like sacrifice. But when you think about it carefully, it was also a very practical choice. Opening and controlling these areas costs energy. There are no obvious rewards. The deeper the group goes, the greater the danger becomes. Staying behind means safety, conserving strength, and waiting until the entire formation is eventually suppressed. In other words, Jijihong may not be cowardly at all. He may simply understand the value of patience. Ling Han, however, was thinking about a different danger. His attention turned to He Runhai. He Runhai still wore that calm, polite smile, but Ling Han sensed something beneath it. A hidden edge, a shadow of menace. That smile was not comforting. It was the smile of a man who had prepared too much and revealed too little. Ling Han and the large black dog understood one thing clearly. They could not afford to leave He Runhai and Lu Yufei unchecked. Going deeper with such a person was dangerous, but letting him move freely was even worse. So Ling Han, the Empress, and the large black dog continued forward with the group. Their choice was not about bravery alone. It was about keeping the initiative. In a dangerous ruin, sometimes the enemy beside you is more worrying than the trap ahead. Then they reached the 5th region, a world of fire. Flames rose high into the sky, and even before they entered, the heat pressed against them like a furnace from the depths of creation. This was not normal fire. Gu Hei recognized it as core flame, a terrifying flame capable of melting divine metal. That single detail changed everything. Divine metal is one of the hardest and most heat-resistant materials in the cultivation world. If even that could melt here, then flesh and blood, no matter how refined, could not endure forever. Even 9th Heaven Celestial Kings might last for a time by using source power, but once their energy ran dry, they would be reduced to ash. This is the weakness of even mighty cultivators. A powerful body can resist. A strong cultivation base can delay disaster. But against a formation designed to exhaust you, survival becomes a battle of time. If you cannot end the danger or escape it, your strength will eventually run out. Everyone turned to He Runhai, and He Runhai smiled. He produced a jade bottle and revealed that he had prepared a solution. Icy spring water gathered from the depths of hell, capable of temporarily suppressing the flames. At that moment, the balance of the expedition shifted again. He Runhai was not merely lucky. He was prepared. Too prepared. Lu Yufei immediately understood the implication. She had believed she knew the ancient site well, but compared with He Runhai, her information was incomplete. What she had gathered were only fragments. He Runhai had clearly entered this expedition with deeper knowledge, stronger resources, and a hidden objective, and that makes him dangerous. Not because he is strong. Many people here are strong. He is dangerous because he is willing to calculate. He is willing to spend priceless treasures now because he expects an even greater return later. And in Xianxia stories, a man who invests heavily before the real treasure appears is never acting out of kindness. As He Runhai poured out the eerie spring water, the flames ahead were extinguished wherever it spread. The path opened. The large black dog recognized the treasure's value and could not hide his envy. This was no ordinary water. It was a rare underworld spring capable of threatening even Ninth Heaven celestial kings with its freezing power. Ling Han immediately questioned the situation. Why would He Runhai spend something so valuable just to help everyone move forward? The answer was obvious and troubling. He Runhai was not helping them. He was clearing the road to something greater. Ling Han and the large black dog reached the same conclusion. If He Runhai dared to pave the way even while two powerful Ninth Heaven celestial kings stood among the group, then he must have a method to protect his own gains. Perhaps a trap. Perhaps a restriction. Perhaps a secret rule of the ancient site that only he understood. And that is where this chapter leaves us. Not with the flames as the greatest threat, but with suspicion. The plant region tested endurance. Wally became the key. The fire region reveals He Runhai's preparation, and beneath every step forward, the real battle is becoming clearer. This is no longer just an expedition through an ancient formation. It is a contest of hidden cards. Ling Han knows He Runhai is planning something. The large black dog knows it too. Lu Yufei is beginning to realize how little she truly understood. So the question now is simple. When the final treasure appears, will the greatest danger come from the ruins or from the smiling man walking beside them? Picture this. A group of celestial kings, each more formidable than the last, standing at the edge of a mysterious trial. The air is thick with tension, the kind that makes your blood run cold before a single move has been made. No one wants to fall behind. No one wants to be left exposed. And yet, in the quiet undercurrents of this frozen world, strategies and hidden plans are unfolding in ways even the keenest observers cannot fully anticipate. In this chapter, our focus lands on He Runhai, a Ninth Heaven celestial king, whose foresight and tactical cunning are unmatched, even among his peers. What's remarkable is how he subtly shifts the balance of power without overt confrontation. Early on, he ensures control by secretly tying a second heaven celestial king, unconscious and bound with regulations, to a stone tablet. This maneuver isn't just clever, it's a lesson in risk management. Even if the captive regains consciousness, he cannot interfere. He Runhai is a strategist, turning potential chaos into a calculated advantage. Now, the group faces the sixth area, an icebound realm, merciless and biting, capable of turning even a fourth or fifth heaven celestial king into a literal statue. He Runhai is prepared, yet even he admits his limits. Enter Huofurong, releasing the origin flame, a dazzling display of green fire that defies the frost. This moment illustrates a key point in cultivation lore. Even those not at the ninth heaven can wield extraordinary power through mastery of the Dao and the elements. The flames protect the group, yet the ice still seeps into their very bones, a chilling reminder that the environment itself can be an adversary. As they traverse, the dangers are relentless. Xiao Yingxiang nearly falls into a hidden crevice, a trap born not of malice, but of the landscape's intertwined regulations. It's a vivid demonstration of how cultivation mastery alone does not guarantee safety. Situational awareness and teamwork are equally vital. Wally's vigilance, scanning with green light that reveals weak ice, emphasizes the importance of perceptive cultivation, seeing what lies beneath the surface, both literally and metaphorically. Then comes the first real test of combat under extreme conditions. Colossal white bears emerge from the icy expanse. Towering over 20 meters, they seem to challenge the very limits of celestial kings. Yet, the truth is more deceptive than it appears. These are not living beasts, but puppets, illusions imbued with the aura of power. Here we see the narrative exploring a recurring theme. Appearances in the cultivation world are deceiving, and discernment is as crucial as raw strength. He Runhai and the other ninth heaven celestial kings dispatch these threats with casual mastery, turning what could have been lethal encounters into tactical exercises, reinforcing the group's sense of both awe and reliance on their leaders. As the team progresses, each subsequent area brings unique challenges. An ocean of flying blades in the 7th zone, an acidic, poisonous black mud in the 8th. Each environment tests different facets of cultivation and strategy: combat acumen, environmental adaptation, and resourcefulness. He Runhai's foresight is again highlighted as he equips each member with protective leaves drawn from the source power of wood, neutralizing the poison's corrosive effects. It's a brilliant intersection of Dao comprehension and material preparation, illustrating that true mastery in a Xianxia world blends foresight, technique, and creativity. Finally, as they approach the 9th area, the stakes shift beyond environmental hazards. The anticipation is palpable. This is where hidden motives will surface, where the first glimmers of betrayal or opportunism could appear. The narrative sets the stage for both personal and Daoic conflict, reminding the audience that trials are not just physical, they are tests of morality, loyalty, and the very essence of one's cultivation path. In reflection, this chapter isn't just about battles and traps. It's a study in preparation, hierarchy, and strategic foresight. He Runhai embodies the principle that power is meaningless without vision, while the others demonstrate how teamwork and adaptability can overcome seemingly insurmountable odds. The frozen landscapes, the ocean of blades, the poisonous mud, each serves as a metaphor for the countless, unpredictable challenges a cultivator faces on the path to celestial mastery. So the question now lingers. As they stand on the brink of the final treasure, will unity hold, or will ambition fracture the group? In a world where even the elements conspire against you, and where every stone and flame may conceal deeper truths, only those who perceive the Dao beyond brute strength will truly survive. The journey through the trials is far from over, and the real test of character has only just begun. What kind of treasure demands blood before it will even reveal its face? That is the shadow hanging over this part of the story. After surviving 8 regions of danger, schemes, and hidden tests, Ling Han's group finally steps into the 9th region. A place where distance itself has lost all honesty. One step might carry a person across mountains, the next might return them to where they began. This is not ordinary terrain. This is a formation left behind by Celestial King He Feng, and because none of them can overpower the laws he carved into this place, they have no choice but to obey those laws. And that detail matters. In Xianxia, true power is not just strength. True power is the ability to ignore rules that bind others. Here, everyone is reminded that they are still travelers walking inside another expert's design. With Wally's terrifying analytical ability guiding them, the group spends more than a month navigating the distorted space. At last, they reach the final formation eye. The 9th stone tablet is before them. The final key is within reach. He Runhai can barely hide his excitement. To him, this is no longer just an expedition. This is the doorway to the treasure chamber, and more importantly, to the United Origin Manifestation Fruit. A celestial opportunity powerful enough to make even high-level celestial kings abandon morality. But the atmosphere is not celebratory. Everyone understands one simple truth. When a treasure is about to appear, masks begin to fall. They have traveled too far to turn back, so they activate the final formation eye with their blood. The moment the last formation mark awakens, a 9th pillar of light shoots into the sky. Then all 9 pillars merge into one massive heavenly column, tearing through the clouds like a spear aimed at the firmament. The world responds with the sound of chains, not ordinary chains. These metal links rise into the air, twist together, and form something like a giant tree. A tree not grown from earth and water, but from restriction, sacrifice, and ancient design. Then one chain strikes, and He Runhai moves first. Before anyone can react, he throws one of the celestial kings forward like an offering. The chain pierces the man, binds him, and drains him with horrifying speed. The victim awakens only long enough to feel the price of the formation. His vitality vanishes, his body withers, and the true purpose of this place becomes clear. This was never a simple treasure hunt. It was a sacrificial array. And He Runhai knew. This is the moment his polite elder mask finally shatters. Earlier, he seemed cooperative, even reasonable. But in cultivation worlds, the most dangerous people are often not the ones shouting threats. They are the ones smiling while counting how many bodies are needed to mature a fruit. Then the formation reveals the rest of the cost. 8 more chains rise from different regions, each carrying a corpse. The people left behind to guard the previous stone tablets. Liu Hao, Luo Yangshu, Xu Huan, Ji Jihang, and the others have all become sacrifices. This changes the entire power balance. Until now, the group believed they were unlocking a treasure chamber. In reality, they were feeding a formation. Each region was not merely a checkpoint. Each stone tablet was also a trap waiting for blood. The Imperial Void Celestial King immediately challenges He Runhai, but not because he is grieving the dead. His anger comes from self-interest. If He Runhai has hidden this much, then the treasure itself may also be part of a greater deception. Gu Hei, usually gentle in temperament, erupts in fury. Members of the world's paramount martial academy have been used as offerings, and that crosses a line far beyond ordinary competition. But He Runhai is unmoved. In his eyes, sacrifice is simply the price of gaining something heaven-defying. He makes the cruel argument plain. Without those deaths, the United Origin manifestation fruit cannot mature. If the others want the fruit, then they must accept the blood that nourished it. This is one of the darkest truths of the chapter. He Runhai is not acting like a madman. He is acting like a cultivator who has completely surrendered his humanity to ambition. He does not deny the crime. He just asks whether the reward is worth more than the victims. And that question cuts deeply into the Xianxia world itself. Because cultivation often praises willpower, resolve, and the courage to defy heaven. But this chapter asks something more uncomfortable. When does heaven-defying resolve become demonic obsession? He Runhai even suggests that if anyone wants to report him, they may leave. By the time the Martial Academy reacts, he will have changed his identity and disappeared. It is a chillingly practical threat. He is not relying only on strength. He is relying on preparation, secrecy, and the greed of everyone present. Then comes the true test. Will they oppose him? Or will they harvest the fruit together? The large black dog immediately mocks the idea of cooperating with a tiger. In his view, anyone who trusts He Runhai now is already halfway dead, but the Imperial Void Celestial King stops him. That single gesture says more than a long speech. Imperial Void is considering cooperation, not because he respects He Runhai, not because he agrees with the method, but because the United Origin manifestation fruit is too tempting. For a cultivator who has climbed so high, one rare opportunity can outweigh the lives of juniors, rivals, and strangers. He Runhai recognizes this ruthlessness and praises it. He even reveals the depth of his own cruelty by implying that a true seeker of the peak must be willing to sacrifice even family, let alone outsiders. At this point, the chapter is no longer only about treasure. It becomes a moral battlefield. Xiao Yingxiang and the others are trapped between two blades. If they refuse, Imperial Void may help silence them. If they join, they betray the principles of the Martial Academy and become accomplices in the sacrifice of their own people. That is the genius of He Runhai's trap. The chains killed the victims, but greed now binds the survivors. Then, Liu Yufei suddenly rushes toward the central region of the formation. Her target is obvious, the United Origin manifestation fruit. The moment she moves, everyone else panics. Earlier, she claimed there was more than one fruit, but after witnessing this master-disciple pair's deception, who would believe her? In a treasure struggle, the first hand to reach the prize may decide everything. The others immediately chase after her, including the Imperial Void Celestial King. Greed defeats caution in an instant. But Ling Han, the Empress, Wally, and the large black dog do not move. And this is where Ling Han's side shows its difference. They understand that in a formation built from deception, the most obvious path is often the killing path. Liu Fei's sudden dash may not be an opportunity. It may be bait, and the fact that He Runhai himself remains calm is the greatest warning of all. The large black dog points this out directly. If He Runhai is not rushing, why should they? That suspicion hits the heart of the scheme. He Runhai finally stops pretending. His humble tone disappears, replaced by the arrogance of a ninth heaven celestial king, looking down on weaker cultivators. He declares that the others have already gone to their deaths, and although Ling Han's group is slightly sharper, their survival has only been delayed. This is the classic villain reveal, but it lands because the setup was patient. He Runhai did not suddenly become evil. The signs were always there. Too much information, too much confidence, too much willingness to guide others into danger. The large black dog attacks, wanting to seize him before the situation worsens. But the strike passes through nothing. He Runhai's body fades away. Only laughter remains. His true body is already gone. What stood before them was merely a strand of divine sense, a spiritual remnant left behind to mislead them. delay them, and mock them. This final twist is important because it proves He Runhai's scheme is even deeper than they realized. He did not simply betray the group at the last moment. He had already withdrawn from danger before the trap fully opened. That means he never intended to share the risk. He only intended to harvest the result. Even Wally, with his unnatural analytical power, failed to notice the switch. No strange energy fluctuation. No obvious movement. No warning. For Ling Han's group, this is a frightening realization. If even Wally missed it, then He Runhai's method is either incredibly subtle, or the formation itself helped hide his escape. Now the question becomes brutal. Should they advance toward the fruit, knowing the others may already be walking into death? Or should they retreat, knowing that leaving may allow He Runhai and Liu Yufei to claim everything? This chapter ends on that blade edge. The treasure has appeared, but so has the truth behind it. The formation does not merely test strength. It tests greed, loyalty, judgment, and the Dao heart itself. And in the world of celestial kings, sometimes the most dangerous enemy is not the ancient restriction before you. It is the smiling guide who led you there. So now, Ling Han must decide, chase the heavenly fruit, or survive the trap set by a man who has already sacrificed everyone else to reach it. Imagine stepping into a place where even the most legendary celestial kings hesitate, where every step could be your last, and the air itself seems to bend with a deadly intent. This is the crucible of He Runhai's final trap, a realm designed by a pseudo-heavenly venerate whose death could not diminish the devastation he left behind. For those who enter, survival is not guaranteed. Even the strongest can be swallowed whole by his meticulously crafted snare. Ling Han and his companions find themselves at this perilous threshold, caught between the impossible choice of advance or retreat. Here, strategy becomes survival. Staying still, observing, and feeling the pulse of the formation might be their only hope. Wally extends his senses into the surroundings, a green light wave probing for shifts in the deadly trap, while Ling Han and the Empress prepare their celestial tools. The tension is palpable. Every heartbeat could be a herald of death. Suddenly, the silence is shattered. Chains of black metal, alive with strange, pulsating symbols, snake through the sky, impaling and suspending even the mightiest among them. Ji Wuming, famed as one of the era's greatest celestial kings, is lifted into the air, struggling against the otherworldly shackles. But in this world of cultivation, a single advantage can turn the tide. With a hidden second heart, Ji Wuming channels an immense reservoir of celestial king essence, momentarily reclaiming his former glory. In an explosive display, he cuts through the chains, proving that even the most formidable traps have limits. Yet the sheer number of chains ensures that freedom is fleeting, and escape remains uncertain. This moment reveals a core principle in Wuxia and Xianxia worlds. Power is not just in strength, but in the mastery of one's inner essence and timing. Ji Wuming's resurrection, his ability to channel the blood of celestial kings, demonstrates how life, death, and cultivation intersect in unpredictable ways. Yet it also foreshadows the cruel truth of He Runhai's design. Overwhelming numbers can counter even supreme skill. The scene escalates as more allies fall. Huo Furong, Xiao Yingxiang, Liu Yufei, and others are impaled, their own cultivation unable to match the might of the pseudo-heavenly venerate's creation. Even the Imperial Void Celestial King, wielding fused celestial tools of unimaginable power, finds himself battered. The sheer volume of chains, each potentially rivaling a Ninth Heaven Celestial King, presses him into a shrinking cage, a vivid demonstration that in the hierarchy of power, a single pseudo-heavenly venerate can overshadow even the most elite celestial kings. Through this chaos, character dynamics emerge. The large black dog, despite his great rebirth, recognizes the limits of even extraordinary cultivation when confronted by genius-level traps. Ling Han's tactical mind contrasts with brute strength, assessing that sometimes retreat, observation, and careful timing outweigh reckless intervention. Meanwhile, Liu Yufei faces a moral and existential crisis, her devotion tested as He Runhai demands her blood essence for his ascension, a haunting reminder that loyalty, intention, and sacrifice are weapons as potent as any celestial tool. He Runhai, atop his colossal tree of chains, embodies the transcendent power of a heavenly venerate. His contemptuous amusement underscores the philosophical divide between celestial kings and those who reach beyond, a narrative staple in Xianxia. The vast gulf between mortal ambition and the realm of the transcendent. Even when confronted with sincere loyalty, his calculation is cold, his power absolute. This chapter illustrates not only the deadly ingenuity of traps and formations, but also the intricate dance of cultivation, hierarchy, and strategy. It raises a pressing question for the audience. In a world where the gap between the highest mortal and the transcendent can never be bridged, how can even the most formidable heroes hope to survive or reshape the game? The answer lies in more than just strength. It's in timing, cunning, sacrifice, and the relentless pursuit of one's Dao. And as we leave this scene, suspended in tension, the ultimate question lingers. Will Ling Han and his companions find a way to challenge the machinations of a pseudo-heavenly venerate? Or is this the inevitable reckoning where only the transcendent may prevail?